Good morning, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world. You've tuned in to the Mac City Morning Show. I'm your host, Elliot Pierre, and we're going to start the show off the same way we start every episode off, with a moment of gratitude. I know you could be doing a million other things with your time, and the fact that you spend it with us truly does mean the world to me, so thank you. On that note, Tanner, hit him with the intro.
Whatty up, boss? Welcome to the Mac City Morning Show.
Hey everybody, Keith Simpson here from Norel Toyota. We support the Oil Barons. We've joined the drive-in movie theater. We're involved in the marathon here in Fort McMurray, and that's what makes this community such an amazing place to live.
Okay, and we're back. Big shout out to Norel Toyota, Keith, Fad, Nimmer, and all the boys and girls down at Norel for sponsoring the Mac City Morning Show, being our title sponsor. Do appreciate it. You help keep the lights on, and Tanner in his nice clothing, so thank you very much. On that note, as you know, I do not introduce my guests. I let them do that themselves. So, sir, can you please tell everybody at home who you are and what you're about?
My name is Greg Halinda. I've been in Fort McMurray for 26 years now.
Yeah, you have.
And 20 years of that, I've been running Greg Halinda Photography.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, your history in this community runs deep. So we've bumped into each other a few times. We've worked together a few times. We've been at the same events. But we've never actually had a chance to have like a sit down like this. So I'm really excited about today's episode. So first and foremost, how the heck did you decide to come to Fort McMurray 26 years ago?
Well, I was just a couple of years out of university and looking for work in photography or maybe another media like radio.
And that's what you took in school, in university?
No, I ended up just getting a general arts degree.
Okay.
I had an interest in journalism, but there wasn't much in the Edmonton area where I lived for journalism programs. So
Okay.
ended up studying French and political science, which was very, shall we say, apropos to journalism or other writing or photography fields. Yeah.
Okay. And so you grew up in Edmonton then?
Since I was 17. Grew up in Winnipeg until 17, then Dad moved us to Edmonton. He worked in the media, in radio and TV.
Okay. What did he do in that industry?
He retired when he was in Edmonton at CFRN, at the time, Sunwapta Broadcasting, CFRN TV, as the news director.
Okay,
Yeah.
very neat. So Winnipeg's awesome.
Yeah.
I love Winnipeg. I've been a few times now. And every time I tell people, like I said, I've been a few times. I'm like, where are you going for your holidays, or where are you going for the weekend? I'm like, Winnipeg. I'm like, why? I'm like, because it's awesome. Okay, so you grew up in Winnipeg, then moved to Edmonton at 17. So after you finished school, why Fort McMurray? What about the community like caught your eye? Did you read in a newspaper? Did you have friends up here?
No, I knew nobody, but I had made a contact with Dan Sorensen,
Okay.
the owner of PhotoSource. And
Right.
at the time, his 1-hour photo lab was getting a lot of demand for actual studio photography work.
Okay.
And I know him and his brother were doing that as well as running the shop, but they put out the word, I guess, for a full-time photographer.
Okay.
And I was in the position where I had no commitments and came up, did an interview, got an apartment for $475 a month
Okay.
in Fort McMurray.
Right.
This was 1995, the fall of
Okay.
95, yeah.
Cool. Okay, so you're taking pictures for PhotoSource, and then when did you branch out to being like your own business? And started
2002, so about 7 years later.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I've never asked this question, although like we've worked together, and I've like hired you to help me out on certain contracts. What is your area of expertise? Like I know one time we did a supplement shoot together, but then I see you at conferences and different events.
Yeah.
Like what do you take pictures of?
Well, I guess you'd say I'm a generalist. I've done everything from aerial photography, product photography,
Right.
studio portraits, video as well.
Okay.
I've done a fair bit of video this year for live events.
Yeah.
So I enjoy all that.
Okay. And now it's ongoing debate at the Mac City Morning Show in regards to camera and camera gear. What kind of camera do you use?
I happen to be a Nikon guy.
I knew you weren't gonna like this one because I sold him cameras for 4 years.
Okay.
I was waiting for the answer on that one.
All right. Elaborate on your camera usage, please.
Yeah.
So why do you like that brand so much?
Well, I mean, back in the day, in Edmonton, I actually worked in a camera store before I did move up here.
Okay.
And I had access to people's trade-ins. I mean, I was basically just out of school, didn't have much money. The Nikon gear at the time was more flexible in that you could buy old lenses that didn't even autofocus, put them on the newest Nikon body, and you save yourself hundreds or thousands of dollars.
Right.
So it was partly economic. I kind of like the looks of them more than, say, the Canon. But anyway, yeah, it was. I just came into some used gear and was able to continually upgrade just buying used lenses and whatnot to build out a system. And
Right.
even today, if I bought a brand new Nikon, I could still use my 40-year-old lens on it, which
Right.
is something you can't say for Canon or some of the other
Definitely can't say that for Sony.
Sony. No.
Well, Tanner, there you go. Enjoy that one.
It's almost like I know what I'm talking about, eh?
That's right. Well, we made the mistake, and we've talked about it a few times on this show now. But when we were starting the Mac City Morning Show, like I went online and found like what was the YouTubers, podcasters' camera of choice,
Okay.
and it was Sony's.
Yeah.
And I forget the model of the Sony, but anyways, we bought 3 of them, and then they kept crapping out,
Oh.
and we ended up buying 5 in total, and not a single one worked. Like they all had their issues for whatever reason. So we bought the gear before Tanner joined the team. And so when he showed up, he's like, "Why are you rocking these cameras?" And I'm like, "Why aren't you at Photo Source anymore?" So we have Nikons now, and they are awesome. And I love using them.
Haven't flinched.
But
Yeah.
to be fair, Sony is taking the world by storm.
Oh, 100%.
There are media agencies like perhaps United Press or American Press, Canadian Press, who have changed. Basically, they've said to all their photographers, "You're now shooting Sony.
That's
Here's
right.
a $7,000 camera. Here's 2 of them,
That's right.
and
That's right.
and this is what you're using now."
Sponsorship money does a lot of things.
That's right. Well, and there's a lot of YouTubers because I use Canon, but that's because Tanner sold me a Canon at the time. So,
Begrudgingly.
yeah. So I use Canon cameras and I like them a lot. And a lot of YouTubers were using Canons to begin with, and then there was this major shift to Sony.
Yeah.
But a lot of them, I shouldn't say a lot, a number of them have switched back to the Canons.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, for numerous different reasons. My thing with the Sony cameras when we got them, one, they were so expensive. Not just the bodies, but then the lenses.
Yes.
But like you have described with the Nikon, and even with some, like my Canons, I can put different lenses on the Canon, and well, with the Sony, if you don't stick with brand, you're done. So it's an expensive if you're going to switch over.
Oh yeah,
Very
switching
expensive to
systems.
switch all over your
yes,
gear
Yeah. Very.
to the Sony.
That's a 5-figure journey minimum.
That's right.
When
Yeah.
switching over gear, if you're a professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, minimum.
Now, I can't speak much for the Nikons because Tanner is the one who uses all of them, but I know Canons for me, super user-friendly. And I found when we were trying to use a Sony, not as user-friendly. It was a little bit clunky, but no diss to Sony. Like, I still like your TVs. I like the cameras personally. They just didn't work out, but you're a Nikon guy.
Yep.
Okay, interesting. Now, your love of photography, how did that start for you?
Gosh, the only thing I guess, well, in our house, my dad being in the media, there were newspapers to be read ever since I can remember. We had
Right.
cable TV probably 1970. So I was surrounded by imagery, and a lot of it was high quality, I guess, news photography. Of course, it wasn't long before I'm looking at National Geographics and like the Apollo missions, and I guess the excitement of a photo, taking you to a place.
Right.
Really grabbed me. I didn't really take it seriously though till I was about 20, and I was working at the student newspaper at the University of Alberta, and
Right.
I was more of a writer editor, but the photo guy said, "Oh, I can't supply you with a photographer to go out and cover this story. Here's my camera. Go out and grab a few photos while you're there."
Right.
And I did a couple of times, and I thought, yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, no doubt.
So the bug was reignited, and then I started to really take it seriously as a hobby,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
at the same time started wondering about making money with it and becoming professional.
Yeah. And here you are.
That's right.
It's cool. I think it's something. I was when I went to school, it was like you just get a job in oil and gas. It's the easy thing to do. If you don't want a good job in oil and gas, doctor, lawyer, dentist, basically. and now based on like the organization that I own and what I do, like there's so many creative facets that you can actually like make an income on that are like really interesting, cool, that I don't think a lot of kids take seriously
Yeah.
or even are aware of it.
Well,
Photography is
I
one
really
of them.
wasn't aware of photography as a profession. Like I say,
Right.
till maybe I was in university already.
That's right. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Tanner gave me the signal that he has a question ready
Great.
for or questions ready for his segment called the Mac City Minute. But it's brought to you by our sponsors, NABA. So we want to give NABA a big shout out for sponsoring this segment. We do appreciate it. If you don't know who NABA is, they're an awesome Indigenous organization. Please go check them out. Tanner, hit him with the Mac City Minute.
Alrighty, question number 1. What is your favorite sports moment you've captured on camera?
Wow. Well, I guess it was sports related. In the run up to the 2010 Winter Olympics, the torch run came through Fort McMurray, and I was hired to photograph the torch run going down Franklin Avenue.
Cool.
I got some really neat shots of the torchbearer, and I can't remember his name, as he carried it down Franklin.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Question number 2. What is your favorite change you've seen in the community since you've arrived here?
I guess a couple things. The growth and celebration of the multicultural dynamic especially through events like the Multicultural Expo, where I happen to have done a lot of photo work and video work. But I've been a traveler and interested in travel since my teens, and have done a fair bit in my 20s and 30s. So to then be able to meet people from different countries, that have all moved here, and ask them about maybe their food or their culture or how life is where they came from has been awesome.
Question number 3. What is the story behind your favorite photo you've ever taken?
Well, one of them is we were in Germany about 7 years ago, so that'd be about 2015, in Bavaria. We happened to be staying in a castle, a B&B hotel castle, which was fun enough. It was my wife's idea, and she wanted our daughter to experience that too. Anyway, we were coming back from dinner in this beautiful medieval town just below the hill where the castle was. Walked around the drive of the castle, and there's these 3 Porsche 356 speed convertibles.
Okay.
Just sitting perfectly parked in a row against the castle wall.
Cool.
Now, I'm a fan of Porsche, and it was sunset, and I had my camera and this tiny little tabletop tripod that I put on the ground, lay down, got it fixed up on the tripod because it was getting dark, so you needed a fairly long exposure. There's no way I could have held the camera steady enough. So
Right.
knocked off a few shots, and it's one of my favorite pictures. It's kind of a panoramic of these 3 probably late 1950s Porsche convertibles, like all the
Nice.
same model but different colors, and
Cool.
just one that sticks in my mind. Yeah.
Nice.
Question number 4. What is the most interesting event you've ever shot at?
For sure, one of them is after the 2016 wildfire in Edmonton. There was a benefit concert.
Okay.
Well, gosh, I can't remember the exact name of it, but I was hired by the United Way, Fort McMurray. I was in Edmonton anyway because I couldn't be living here. It was still, evacuation was still the rule. So I was in Commonwealth Stadium, and we had like Blue Rodeo, Corb Lund, Alan from Newfoundland,
From Big.
from Great Big Sea.
Yeah.
We had Ian, 4 Strong Winds, Ian Tyson.
Yeah. So stellar lineup.
Oh, it was just great, and the stadium was packed, and it was, I was right up front on the floor of the stadium taking photos, and it was a very special moment.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And your final question. If you could go to one place to get a photo, where would that place be?
One place could be outer space.
Great answer.
Space station. Yeah, I've seen some incredible photos done from the space station, both taken of the Earth and of the space station itself, and northern lights, those kinds of things from space.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And those have been your 5 questions.
Tanner just hijacked one of my questions. I'm not impressed.
You get 15 minutes,
Yeah.
and constantly you steal my questions.
That's right,
so
no doubt.
It feels good when the favor has been returned.
That's right. That was a good one. That was a good question. Outer space, what a great response. That's a great answer. Outer space would be really cool to get some photos from. Now, I've only ever seen you at events taking photos. So most of the time it's of individuals, obviously. But you just mentioned Northern Lights. Do you take a lot of like wildlife or scenic type of photos?
I don't. Let's just say I don't. I don't stay up late to go outside in the cold and take shots of northern lights.
Right.
And I don't go on big safaris to find animals. I just, when I see a great wildlife documentary, it's like, oh, the photographers to get that shot. What the waiting and the cold and the wet and the
The 5-day walk to get wherever they are in the middle of the forest.
You know, yeah. So frankly, I'm a bit of a homebody.
Yeah.
But you know, one of the shots that I posted recently on Facebook that went viral. There happened to be a fox in our backyard.
Right.
And right out my office window looks out onto the backyard, and my camera bag is right there, and there's a fox. So I grab my camera with my long lens.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the fox jumps up on the fence like a cat.
Right.
Now, this is something I've seen foxes before. I've never seen them that agile or.
Right.
So I'm really happy when I can nail a shot like that.
That's
and
right.
From the comfort of your own home.
That's right. That's the way to do it. Yeah, it's one of those things where when I was doing my daily videos all the time, I just had a camera with me literally all of the time, every day. And I was able to capture so many cool moments when I had that camera on me. And I know like we all have our phones on us and everything, but like it's not the same.
That's right.
And I find if I take a picture or a video with my phone, it lives in my camera roll and I don't really do much with it. Versus like when I used to take a picture or a video, because I'm a horrible photographer, but when I do a video, I would actually do something with that piece of content more often than if I'm going to do something with my phone. So it's nice to have it with you, but they're kind of bulky sometimes.
That's right.
Especially like the camera you two use. You guys have like some.
Well, and you can't just go with your camera. You got to have like 5 or 6 different lenses in your bag for any situation that may occur, even though you'll probably only use one lens the entire time.
That's it.
Yeah. It's a whole process.
Yeah. So for the people at home, if they wanted to support you and like help your business out, how can they get in contact with you? What type of clientele are you looking for? Yeah.
Well, I do enjoy getting out to work sites and you know, portraying people in the places where they work. That way I get to see things that people who maybe live in town, just work in town, never get to see. The inside of a mine or a heavy duty shop or a machinist's shop where they're working, that kind of thing.
Right.
So I really, and I've got a fair bit of experience in you know, corporate or industrial environments. So
cool.
that's one that I really enjoy doing. My website, greghalindaphotography.ca, or I also have a link, greghphoto.ca, and that'll take you to the same site.
Yeah.
Shows a pretty good cross-section of the work I've done over the past couple of decades, and that's my thing.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, like you're a staple in the community. Everybody knows you, has seen you at events, taking photos. I think you've talked to so many individuals. It's kind of crazy. Even like my mother, like when I was like, oh yeah, I was hanging out with Greg, my mom's like, oh really? Oh, and I was like, how do you know? I'm like, how do I? Like, you've been here for a very long time and are an integral part of the community because you're taking pictures of everything.
That's right.
So that's really cool.
It really puts me in the front row. I'm kind of an introvert, so I don't usually
really?
gravitate to the front row.
Okay.
So that everyone is looking at the back of my head when I'm up, you know, in front of them. But that's how it works out, and
that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, listen, that's the end of the 20 minutes. I know it flies, so please feel free to come back again.
Thank you very much.
I'd love to have you as a guest again and again and again. There's so many other questions I have for you, but that's why the show's only 20 minutes. Kind of forces you to come back. So, but before I cut you loose today, everybody gets a shameless shout out or plug. So you got the mics, the camera, and lights. Have fun.
Yeah, if you need some some shots of your workplace that really show, you know, the kind of things that you want your customers to see, instead of just iPhone photos that maybe you happen to take. Let me know. I'd love to help you out, and whether it's video or still photography, that's my thing, and I appreciate knowing what you need for great photos for your business.
There we go. Awesome. Well, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world, that's been another episode of the Mac City Morning Show. Big shout out to our title sponsor, Noral Toyota, and our Mac City Minute sponsor, NABA. We do appreciate your help and your support. I hope everybody at home is having a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
What a deadly old way to end another morning show. Later, boss.
It's so ballistic!
Talk about quenching your ugly thirst.